Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a great weekend. I decided to put together a very short video explaining how I set up my options chains, my calls and my puts pre-market during the day. I- I'm going to show you, this is my workspace. I share this in my Discord. If you're interested, you can come by and pick it up. It's in there. I have a link to it in there as well as my indicators and my basically this LRC strategy. So so let me get into I'll go over my workspace setup and then I will show you how I set up my options chain and my call or how I use the option chain to set up my calls and puts so that I can be ready to place the buys or sells, in a almost a split second. So anyway, I'll show you how I do this. It's very simple. It isn't rocket science, but anyhow, this is my main trading chart right here in the middle. I always have NQ, ES, Apple, and Qs showing along the bottom so I can kind of see what they're doing, if they're coming into major levels, if they're rejecting major levels, but that's not really what this is about, except for, my workspace. So without further ado, let me get into how I set this up. So I set up a couple watch lists. One I call calls, one I have labeled puts. And I also have and these I have set to, you can set them any way you want, but I have them linked to my active trader. So for these, I have one, which is red, and my active trader is red. My main chart is yellow. Again, you can make these anything you want. You definitely don't want these to be the same. This has to be different than these and your active trader. These you can just leave blank, just unlink them so they stay there without getting moved or changed by accident, unless you want to change them. So anyhow, here's how I do it. So as I'm watching pre-market, I pay attention to my anchored LRC, how the how price is actually reacting to the 200 EMA, the 20 EMA, as well as support and resistance levels that I have drawn in. Okay, so what I will do if I say for instance I see SPY, I typically trade SPX, so I'll just go through the steps that I would use. So if I'm interested in trading SPY, or it would be SPX, I have my SPY. I'm looking at SPY up in my grid. I then will say, okay, this is one that's setting up. I like how the 20 and the 200 are close. It's really a tight LRC, and we're right next to a major level. So this is one that I want to trade. So I'll hit my trade tab, which I then have my options chain right here. I'll select my options chain. I then, on the call side, I always get right at the money. So I right click with my mouse and then I copy and I put that in my calls, paste it. And now you'll notice that I click down because you either have to hit enter or you have to click another area for these. I wish they would just let them be automatically in, but they don't. So then I'll come over to at the money. I right click, I copy my put, and I put it in my put column or my put watch list. So let's just say let's say I have another um, stock. I'll just use Apple for now. Say I see Apple and I like what it's looking like and I decide I want to load it. So I'll have it loaded. So basically it just depends on what you want to do, what you want to trade. Again, add the money, copy, paste, copy, paste. And so I'll just continue to load these up with what I feel like I may want to trade that day. That way I'm not having to do it and possibly miss a nice breakout move or what have you. The only downside to putting them in early is, say for instance, I put in Apple early. I go ahead, I have it loaded, but then all of a sudden Apple goes way, way down. Maybe there's some news that comes in, or who knows. When it say, let's just say Apple goes way down. Well, you know that your put is gonna then be way more expensive than maybe what you want. It won't be at the money anymore. It's gonna move. So if that happens, and you have that take place, you just have to be cognizant of that. Just go to your trade tab again, click at the money, and let's just say it's here this time, and then you put it right on top of that and you overwrite it. Same goes if you need to change your calls, and that way you don't load up with too many um, variables over here. That's just the way I do it. It makes it clean, keeps it easy. So now the way I trade it is like this. Just say, okay, market opens, I'm watching, and then say I'm just on, say I'm on Meta, right? And I'm watching what's going on, and I'm thinking I might get in Meta, but then all of a sudden I see on my grid, well, Apple looks like it's setting up. It looks like it's going to pushes up off of an LRC, crosses over a two. I'm just giving a hypothetical. Crosses over the 200 is like an A plus setup for me. I'll click here. That loads Apple over here. I'll change to Apple on my chart, and then I get ready to and wait for the move that I want. Say this is what I saw happen here. It comes above my LRC. I'm looking for a move above here. As soon as that happens, I then just I buy. Now I have buy market, buy ask, sell ask, buy bid, sell bid. So I do use these. So I use the buy bid, sell ask sometimes. However, I typically always do buy market and sell market. The area that I use buy bid and sell ask is usually when I'm trading SPX, honestly. So like a lot of times I'll put in a buy bid to see if I can get the lowest point of where SPX will grab it. The reason for that is sometimes I'll be on a candle that's just kind of moving prices, moving up and down. And within that one candle, as you well know, if you've ever traded SPX, you could be almost $100 difference. So if you hit buy market, then you may already be at a negative $100, or let's just say 90, whatever. And then you have to wait for that to go up. But if it goes against you, now you're already at a negative 100. You could be a negative, a couple hundred, and have that loss. So I do sometimes use the buy bid for SPX. And sometimes I'll use the sell ask. You have to be careful with it, because like say for instance I have a good move going up. I'll go ahead, and if I feel like I'm at a good profit level and I don't want to risk much more, I'll just hit a sell ask and see if it comes to it. The only downside with that is sometimes price won't get to it, and then you miss it and it starts going down, then you lose your profit. So you just have to be really careful with that. Put in your sell ask. If it doesn't work, I have a cancel all. I click that, and then I just sell market right away to lock in my profit. So that's really that's the way I use it. It's very quick. It's very easy. Um, Again, like I said, it's nothing really special. I just found that this is the easiest way for me. Let's say I think Google is going to be a good trade this day. I right click, paste it in, right click my put side, paste it in my puts. Um, and it's really super simple. The only thing I kind of wish that TOC, maybe I'll send them a recommendation. I don't know if they ever really read them, but I would love to see them make it more prevalent. Like if you're in calls, I'd like for this to be a specific color. I know you can look for the C, but sometimes in the heat of trading, or in the, when you're right in the middle of it, I have had where I've clicked here and say I was trading a put for Microsoft previously, right? And then all of a sudden I see Google come. Sometimes I'll click and I think it changed, but it didn't. So you have to pay attention up here and up here to make sure you get your change, as well as price, right? So if the only real downside is if like, oh, this is a great example. See how Microsoft is at $4 a share, a contract. I mean, if I were to change to Apple, it's at around $4 a share too. So that wouldn't really tip you off that you made the change. However, say I went from Microsoft at 4 and then I go to Google. Now I'm at 2. It's easier to see, okay, the change, it actually populated over here. I don't have that problem very much, but every now and then, I actually did have it on Friday, which is comical. I lost $11 on Meta because I was trying to get into an SPX call and I clicked it and I thought it changed and it didn't. And when I bought, it bought I was still highlighted for Meta puts, and so luckily I only bought one, and it was a really cheap put, and I lost $11. But a mistake like that could be, you know, could give you a pretty significant loss if you don't catch it quick enough. So just be careful when you're clicking these. Focus. Make sure this changes. Make sure this changes and you see it up here. Like I said, I really wish that this would change to like a purple or something if it were puts, or a yellow if it is calls. That way you absolutely have that, visual indicator that hey, you're in calls or hey, you're in puts. But um, they do give you the P and the C. It just, you have to make sure it's visible, and you have to make sure you're actually on that. Again, that's not a big deal for the most part, but I have had that happen a few times or several times throughout my trading where I thought I was on one and I was on a different one. But so anyway, that's it. That's how my workspace is set up, and that's how I use my options chains. It's very simple. I have a calls and a puts watch list. I populate them with the contracts that I want to get into, the different stocks that I'm interested in, and I update them throughout the day. If, for instance, like I said, if you have a big move, I update them, and I also add doubles. And what I mean by doubles is like the other day I was in TSM on Friday. I got into a TSM trade, but I decided, oh no, I'm sorry, a Tesla trade. I got into a Tesla trade, and I did too. And I reset. So I caught Tesla all the way up here. I got all out. I made $2,000 on this push up to this point. And so what I did with Tesla, I'll just give you an example. So when I had bought Tesla, let's just say it had the first one that I had purchased was this one, and my cost went up to like $11, right? At this point. Well, I didn't want to re-enter on the same $11. So what I did is I go and grab the next at the money, and then I go right back to my chart. I populate my active trader with the next with this one, and then I actually got in right here for this upside move, and I caught this all the way up um, for another like $1,400. So I made $3,400 I think on two Tesla trades on Friday, which was awesome. So anyway, I could have stayed in, but I have found, and this is just advice for, I guess for any stocks, but for Tesla, Tesla has a way of having these quick moves up and then it'll dump way down and you're like, whoa, what happened? And then all of a sudden it moves back up. Uh, it just happens sometimes. So I have I just want to be really secure in my trading and make sure that I lock in my profit. And so I've decided that once I get really good pushes and I start getting like red rejection candles, I'm just going to take all profit off the table. And it makes it so much easier because now, guess what? I've locked away my profit. I don't have to worry about anything. That profit's in the bank, right? That's done. Then, if I get a pullback, I'll load up another options chain since we had such a big move up. I'll load up a new one at the money. And if I get my pullback, which is what I did right here, and then I enter, I got my green, and then I wait for a green above a green, I get right back in. And guess what? If it fails back below the bottom of this green, I get out. It's that simple, because then that's just a failed pullback. So that's how I trade it. And so anyway, I hope you guys have had a great weekend. It is Sunday midday for me. I got some things to do. We're going to go out boating in a little bit. Uh, Once again, we went out boating yesterday. My kids love tubing, so that's what we're about to do. Hope you guys are having a great weekend as well. And so I hope to see you on the next video. My link to my Discord is in my description. If you're interested, and if this video has helped you, please hit the like and subscribe. That would be awesome. Help support my channel if I'm providing anything of value to you. I really appreciate it. So you guys take care. I'll see you on the next video.